formal 2018 signing date certainly was, we believe, an excellent recruiting class. We have one signee today, and then we're going to release 14 committed walk-ons, and so we're pleased about that. Just a couple broad brush statements going into that process. The NCAA had changed and offered 2 signing dates. That was after a lengthy discussion and talking to a lot of student athletes around the country, and they wanted an early signing date. And there was much debate. Many of my colleagues were opposed to this early signing date, and we saw it coming, and so we're either going to be proactive or reactive. And I thought Gordy Haug and our coaches and everybody else had a really proactive plan, and so we're really pleased with the early signing date. We think it's beneficial for student athletes, and we think the staffs that are out doing their homework are going to benefit from it. I think certainly there's cost savings. You're not flying all over the country. It certainly takes a lot of pressure off the student athletes as well. I think some of the information we've gotten is the majority of these guys end up staying with who they are committed to, and so much of the time they feel obligated to at least entertain conversations with other coaches, and they have in mind what they're going to do anyhow. So we're really pleased with where we're at. Today we'd like to release Mario Mora. Mario's a defensive tackle. He's from the LA area. He was a great player on tape. He also played tight end. Really solid family, explosive. He runs really well. And as we continue to build our football program, it's imperative that we build that on defense and the defensive line. And so Mario's going to be an excellent guy to add there. And as I said, we have 14 walk-on players who are committed. We've taken a really proactive approach since our staff has gotten here. Along with that, though, as each year, I think we've really redefined the guys that we're looking for, what areas they're from. We're certainly always pleased to have some young men from the state of Wyoming come in to our program. And so that being said, I'll open up to any questions anybody might have.
Coach, I know Mario had some offers from other Mountain West schools as well. I'm sure it's always positive for you guys when you're able to kind of go head-to-head with your conference competition like that and come out with a kid.
Well, it is. We're always mindful of this, though. Just because somebody else is recruiting them doesn't necessarily, solidify the guy's going to be a great player. However, when we look at guys, and what we have seen is there's been a transition. Our first couple of years, we would identify certain guys, and then other conference schools would recruit them when they were from a distance, and we had a hard time signing those guys. And that really changed the last 2 years, and it changed particularly this year. And so I think it's an indication of a couple things. One, stability in our program, the overall trajectory of our program. Certainly, the high altitude training performance center, I think that has an impact. We've gone to back-to-back bowl games. Our coaching staff is very stable. And so all those things lend itself, and we got a great institution. And so what is beginning to happen is, we're starting to sign guys that a lot of other Mountain West schools are interested in. Now, some of these guys may not have garnered all that much interest, but that's fine. We go by what we see.
Craig, as this signing period ended, no major huge surprises. Was it kind of how you thought it would go, or were there some surprises down the stretch?
You know what? That's a great question, because we still may sign. There's still a guy out there that we may sign. I don't want to get into all the specifics on why we haven't signed today, but we knew going in we were going to have a really narrow focus on a couple guys. We lost a guy in the 11th hour to a Pac-12 school that I think sometimes then that doesn't mean that he's any better player than some of the other guys we signed, but I think it speaks well that we were battling, and so that came into play. And so, but we're really excited about Mario, and I can't tell you how pleased we are about him. And so the fact we signed one, that's not an indication of, okay, this thing has gone awry. We were down to very few scholarships, and we're going to have to pick and choose.
I know California was good to you. It's been good to you the last couple of years.
Right.
It was good in the early signing period. Mario's from California. We talked a little yesterday. That's been a very fruitful area for you, and I imagine it will continue to be, moving forward.
Well, what we did, and I was really not very familiar with recruiting California. You know, I'd been there a couple times when I was at the University of Nebraska, but really wasn't familiar with California and did not know how we would be received. You know, what we have found is there's a lot of good football players out there. We think it's imperative that we find the right guy that's going to embrace the university in Laramie, because it's quite a change going from Los Angeles to Laramie. And you know, all kinds of different changes, but we've you know, we've scoured that state from the northern part in the Central Valley. You know, of course, Josh Allen is, you know, I believe is going to be a high first-round draft choice. That really helps our visibility out there. And then, you know, we were able to sign a guy from San Diego this year, and so between LA, San Diego, the Central Valley, the Northern California portion, there's a lot of population, a lot of good football players. And the other thing that has helped us is, you know, the fact that we play in the Mountain West. You know, the Mountain West moniker stands strong in California. There's a lot of good football players, and you know, some of those guys are looking for an environment like Wyoming.